I'm no stranger to eggs, and I know eggs come under fire all the time. And I don't need to share the broad sweeping benefits of eggs, but there is a newer reason why I'm eating 5 eggs per day, sometimes more. And it's not to do with the choline, it's not to do with the protein, those are all givens. I'm talking about the carotenoid known as lutein. But before you click off this video, because now you know exactly what I'm talking about, trust me, some things are gonna click and some things are gonna make sense, especially in the world of like visceral fat, cardiometabolic benefits. Let's just dive right in. I've talked about this brand before, but I put a link down below for Bowmar Nutrition. They have a lutein that uses a brand called FloraGlow, which is a specific, very well extracted form of lutein from marigolds. And they have it in a gummy form too that is sweetened with stevia. So it's not bunch of sugar or anything like that. There's 5 milligrams of lutein per gummy. You typically want to take at minimum 5 grams per day. Most of the literature suggests that there's no real unsafe amount. So a lot of the benefits come in after 10 milligrams. You'd want to take like 2 gummies. But again, if you just go on Amazon and you get like a regular lutein, there's no guarantee it's been extracted the way that is really, really important. If it's not cold extracted, if it's not at the right time, the right solvents, it completely damages the lutein. It is a very fragile carotenoid. So I put a link down below for Bowmar. You don't have to get it through them, but I highly recommend it as it's probably one of the only good quality lutein supplements I've seen that's out there. So it's in the top line of the description underneath this video. I want to start off with a randomized controlled trial that was published in the British Journal Nutrition. This was seeking out to find if lutein, the carotenoid that gives eggs its orangish yellow pigment, had any correlation with body composition. Okay, we all know lutein for the eyes, but that's boring unless you have eye issues. I mean, let's just be real. Like, no one's thinking about it proactively these days. But from body composition, heck yes. So what this study had subjects do is they had them do a low-calorie diet for 2 weeks. One group had a placebo, one group had lutein. Okay, get this, check this out. Only the lutein group had a reduction in visceral fat. Visceral fat, in case you don't know, that's the fat that surrounds our organs deep inside our abdomen. It is commonly known as one of the largest negative cardiometabolic risk factors we could look at. Like, having high levels of visceral adipose tissue is not a good thing. Okay, it is a proxy for liver fat. It is a proxy for inflammation. I don't need to go into all the detail. It's also what really could make your belly look a little bit distended. Although most of the fat that's around the midsection, when you see it, is subcutaneous. You're not really seeing the visceral fat unless it's getting so much that it's protruding your stomach out more. That being said, they also found with this study that the lutein group lost more body fat and had a significantly more favorable outcome when it came down to body composition than the group that did not have the lutein. They ate the same amount of calories. The only difference was the lutein. And this was a randomized controlled trial. It was not some obscure Antarctican journal with 4 penguins. It was real. Okay, now, how many eggs do you need to eat to get this lutein? Well, I have more stuff to share with you. But first off, you really need to have like a minimum of 5 milligrams of lutein. Okay, 5 milligrams is where the magic starts to happen. A good size egg is maybe 300 micrograms, right? So even if you're having 5 eggs, you're really only getting, at absolute best with a ginormous egg, a couple milligrams, probably not anywhere near that. I want to be careful with the amount of eggs I tell people to eat. You want to know how many I really eat? Some days I eat 5. Some days, if you've seen my Instagram, I will absolutely eat 10. Okay, there's a lot of reasons I eat eggs independent of the lutein, but now it's just getting more and more fascinating. There was a study published in Pharmacological Research, took a look at 19 studies. It was a systematic review, taking a look at the metabolic effects of lutein. They found that lutein had a powerful impact on blood pressure, on monocyte migration, I'll explain what that is in a second, and also arterial stiffness, or actually more so thickness. Okay, and then there were other studies within that same group that they looked at that showed that lutein had a powerful impact on inflammation associated with cardiometabolic disease. It is a powerful antioxidant. And here we are thinking that eggs are always problematic because there's a little bit of this and that and a little bit of this and that that people want to bark about. The benefits of eggs are huge, right? We're getting the choline, which is tremendous for the brain. We're getting the protein, which I do not need to go into detail as to why the protein is so good, right? We've got the lutein, we've got the zeaxanthin. They're tremendous for our eyes, but now we're seeing, wait a minute, there's actually a cardiometabolic benefit to this orange yolk. You mean it's not just orange because it's pretty? It's actually orangish yellow because it has this particular carotenoid that's good for metabolic health? Let's not forget that the majority of the fat that is in an egg is a monounsaturated fat. The same fat that we're told is really good because it comes from olive oil, it comes from avocado oil, macadamia nuts. The majority of the fat in an egg is a monounsaturated fat. Sure, there are some saturated fats. Sure, there are some of these things. But most of the fat, most of the calories from fat are coming from a monounsaturated fat, which is pretty darn cardiovascularly healthy and cardiometabolically beneficial to begin with. Am I saying you need to go out and eat 5 eggs to get your lutein in? No. As a matter of fact, there's other ways that you can get lutein in, but remember it has to come in with fats. So the nice thing about eggs is the yolk already has the fat with it. It's a fat-soluble carotenoid. So the yolk is great. But if you throw some spinach, if you threw some kale or some broccoli in an omelet, there you go. You've got additional amounts of this carotenoid mixed in with the eggs. That being said, full disclaimer, if you're trying to get your levels of lutein up, a supplement might be a good route because you really do need to get up to like 5-6 milligrams to start having an additive benefit. But considering most of the literature we look at is looking not just at lutein intake, but it's looking more so at lutein serum levels. That just tells us that the more consistent intake of lutein is probably the most important thing to keep your serum levels relatively high compared to the people in the tertile of low lutein levels that seem to have more cardiometabolic risk factors. So I'm still on team egg. I'll see you tomorrow.